He's the doctor behind the amazing weight loss of Manuel Uribe, the world's fattest man. Dr. Barry Sears is a world-renowned authority on dieting. He put his knowledge into The Zone, a best-selling weight loss book that has sold more than 2 million copies worldwide. Now, he's released his latest book, Toxic Fat, to help us understand and solve our current obesity epidemic. Dr. Barry Sears is in studio and joins us this morning. Great to have you in to talk about this.
Thank you very much.
You treat the toxic fat, says it in the title, but you believe it's like a cancer. How come?
It really is. We basically have to view the obesity epidemic in North America as really a cancer epidemic. It's really basically this inflammation that basically is leaving the adipose tissue and circulating throughout the body. And as long as we treat obesity as really a disease of lack of willpower, we'll continue to fail in our desire to do that. We have to treat it like a cancer, and by doing so, you can now manage it very effectively.
And when you manage it effectively, because, I mean, you're really treating it like it is a disease.
Exactly.
Because it is.
And this is why basically when we're told to eat less, exercise more, they're doomed to failure. They basically miss the point of why we become fat, and more importantly, what we have to do to basically reverse that fat.
Well, most astonishing, of course, and we just saw a picture of Manuel Uribe, who you helped lose. I mean, at the end of the day, how many pounds did he lose?
To date, it's about 440 pounds.
That's astonishing. And he just got married. We had that on the news a couple of days ago.
But the most amazing thing about Manuel, he's probably the healthiest man in Mexico.
How is that possible?
Well, because again, once you reduce the inflammation, then you get back to a standard of health. Right now, his cholesterol is perfect. His blood sugar is perfect. His blood pressure is that of a teenager. Even though he hasn't left his bed in 6 years, he has the resting heart rate of a trained athlete. It's impossible to make Manuel any more healthy than he already is. Really? But it'll take us another 5 years to get Manuel down to his ideal weight, which for him will be about 250 pounds.
So how is he doing it? I mean, because the exercise portion is not part of it. He can't get out of bed.
The whole key is basically food, but treating food as if it were a drug, to control the hormones that make us fat. And if you can control them, you basically now have a pathway, a proven clinical pathway, to basically lose the weight, lose it at a reasonable rate, and basically maintain health along that pathway.
How do you block the pathway of cravings when somebody's used to eating a certain amount? We use the expression, oh, your stomach is stretched, so you need more food to feel full.
That's the secret. You have to have satiety, lack of hunger. Once you basically follow the prescriptions we have in the book, basically that lack of hunger begins to appear within 1 or 2 days. That was Manuel's case. Basically within 2 days, he was no longer hungry. In fact, Manuel, basically his biggest problem, he can't eat the 2,000 calories a day we have him on because he's never hungry.
Wow. How did you come upon him? How is it that the two of you hooked up so that you could help him?
Well, it's actually through our Mexican physicians that basically we learned about Manuel, and we started working with him 2.5 years ago. And it's been an ongoing process, and one that basically has given us a lot of insight into the biochemistry of the truly obese individuals and what has to be done to basically resolve that.
Did he believe that he could do it when he first met you? I mean, was he
skeptical? Really did. He was skeptical because he said, look at me. I've tried every diet in the world, and I'm sitting in this bed for the last 6 years. But we were convinced his problem was not that he had lack of willpower. He was simply inflamed. He had excess levels of toxic fat. And if we could reduce that, that would be the secret.
And speaking of secrets, and there's all kinds of them, well, not so secret anymore, contained in this book, and all kinds of advice that you've got. But if there was one piece of advice that you could give to Western society, particularly since we're all overweight, or so many of us are, what would it be? Well,
the one thing, and this is probably controversial here in Canada, is basically cut back the use of vegetable oils, things like canola oil in Canada. It's like cutting back on hockey or cutting back on soybean oil, because these are the building blocks to make toxic fat.
And Toxic Fat is the name of the book. Dr. Barry Sears, pleasure to have you in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.